Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back for another gear review. That's right, doing another gear review, and today we're doing another light gear review, and it's coming in from GVM. Now, they've given me some lights here in the past. We got this guy up here, and we also got some tube lights and some other stuff. And I've been using GVM for a while, and they make some good slider products and a lot of stuff that I've been using on the regular for filmmaking as well as live streaming. So I thought, why not show you guys more gear from them that they sent over my way. Now, this isn't sponsored. They just sent this over for me to review, so I'm here to review some more. Now, they actually sent this over a couple of days ago, and it's coming in this nice case here. I can't stress how much they keep sending me stuff within like nice cases and whatnot to, I don't know, really seal the deal on making something look, you know, nice and flashy. And I think you get this case too, so here you go. Inside this case, you start off with this nice piece of product right here, and it's a foam pad. It's just for protecting your gear. That's all. It's just in there. I'm just letting you know. Inside, you're going to get yourself a nice little power cable. Now, this thing's pretty long. I don't know. I want to say it was like 10 or 12 feet or something like that. And then you got this nice little power brick right here. So if you need power, which you do, it's right here waiting for you. And they got this kind of different proprietary, lock here. So actually plug this into the light and have it juiced up. You're going to have to use this little guy here. And it's got a little clip on it, so you can just quickly put it on there. It clips on. It won't come out unless you push the clip and pull out. Also inside, you're gonna get yourself a nice little a piece of foam and a reflector here just to kind of keep it safe. But yeah, it's just, you know, your little reflector dish. Usually these are on the front of lights just to really kind of hone in and center that light to get a little bit more oomph out of the light source itself. You have the actual light fixture itself. Now this is the GVM SD300D. You can see right there. And for those of you guys that are familiar with Aputure and their products and whatnot, this is kind of similar to a 300X. Now, they also have a 300D and some other stuff, but this thing is actually kind of cool because it's bi-color. And what I mean by that is it has two different color temperatures. So some lights come in just daylight or just tungsten or, you know, whatever, the warm light or the cool light. And, you know, GVM tends to make these cool products where they're bicolor or RGB. Now, they do have an RGB version, I think, out there as well, but this guy's bicolor and by far, probably my new favorite light. So also, you're going to get yourself a little stand action right here, and this is just going to help you go ahead and pick up the old light and keep it all, you know, up in the air for whatever you need. So you get a nice little stand to go with it, and it folds up pretty nicely. It's not too shabby here. So, you know, if you need a stand, it comes with one. It also comes with a nice softbox. So if you guys need yourself a little softbox action, also it comes with a little grid, as well as a little diffusion right there with diffusion behind the diffusion, which I can get into in a little bit here. But basically, you got yourself a nice little softbox, standard Bowens mount, which I love because I hate when products put a non-standard cable or something on a product to make it, you know, it's not interchangeable with other products. Now, if you have something from Aputure or other Bowens mount adapters, you can just pop this bad boy on there and it's going to work just like anything else. So pretty nice, man, to get yourself a nice little grid here to really, you know, direct the light where it needs to go. So if this is lit up and I start to turn it this way, you see how this all kind of blacks out here. You don't see any more of the white. The white is where the light's gonna be coming out. So as if I turn this here, that means that you are not getting hit by this soft light, but I will be because it's hitting me. So that's kind of what a grid does, man. It really hones in the soft light where you want it to go. Okay, so let's get right down to the nitty gritty. How much is this thing gonna cost me? Well, I'm a filmmaker. Filmmaking gear is pretty expensive. And yeah, if you go to their gvmled.com website, you can actually find this guy. Now, hear me out. It goes for $1,380. That's a lot. They also slashed it down to $980. That's still a lot. But on Amazon, you can actually find this thing for $500. It's $300 off right now. On top of that, they have a discount on there for an extra $100 off. So all in all, actually on Amazon right now, $399. And it's a hefty lie. I mean, I'm talking something that's comparable to an Aputure 300X. And if you ever worked with one of those, you kind of know its power. Now I'll put that in the link down below so you guys can get that exact site to make sure that you get that perfect discount if you choose to get this light. All right, so now we have our GVM SD300D on top of this the stand here, and yeah, so on the front you got that little safety cup there. Now you want to not have this thing on there. I kid you not. Like this thing, when you turn it on, it gets a little spicy, and I mean in terms of heat, it's pretty warm, and I think over time it would maybe melt this thing or discolor it. So make sure to take off this cap when you go to use this guy. Let's go ahead and just fire this bad boy up. And you can see we are at 1%, and already we're looking pretty bright here. I mean, this is 1%. Now, just for you camera nerds out there, my ISO on my camera, we're at 320. My f-stop's at 1.7. We are pretty wide open here. All right, so now that I got this thing up here, you can actually see how much that light is spreading all over the place. Now, what I want to do is I want to put that reflector on there, and again, it's going to go ahead and it's going to kind of, you know, center that to maybe a more hotter spot right there, and you can see just how much brighter it's getting on that back wall. And if I go ahead and take this off, you can see it kind of gets a little less bright. But so this thing is actually spotting that light in a little bit more to get you a little bit of extra oomph in terms of the actual light itself. Now, this thing on their website is rated at 112,000 lux. So if that means anything, and you know lux, there you go, 112,000 lux. It sounds like a big number. I compare this to the Aputure 300X, and it's basically on par with exactly that light. So on the back here, we got a couple different things. We have a channel, we have the brightness, and we have the color temperature itself. And right now we are in app mode, so we're not able to really change anything besides the channel we're on. So I'm gonna switch this on over to rotate, and that's gonna allow me to go ahead and select the brightness as well as the color temperature itself. Now, this was sitting at 2,700 degrees. That's at its warmest. So now I'm gonna set this all the way to the end, which is going to be 7,500 degrees, and that's gonna be its coolest. So you got this kind of nicer whitish light, and you got that kind of warmer, you know, inside tungsten light. So there you go, 2,700 degrees, warmer, 7,500 degrees, cooler. Now my white balance is set to like 6,500 degrees. So when I go to all the way to blue here, you're not actually seeing how blue it actually is. For me, this is pretty blue. It's a little surpassing daylight. Now, daylight is normal daylight. Sunlight is set about 5,600 degrees. So this should be daylight colored right here. So just keep that in mind that it's going to look a little warmer because I upped my color, my white balance, you know, so just, there you go. You just click this little button right here and you can go from color temperature to the brightness. And again, we're at 2%. So I'm going to start to dim up on this, and you're going to see just how bright this thing gets when we start to take it all the way to the end. And now we are sitting at 100%, and you can see just how bright this guy is. And I'm talking, this thing is putting out heat. I can feel it. I feel like I got the sun right next to my face, and it's pretty intense. And if I pull off this little cone here, you can see just how much light it's providing this entire space. This thing is bright. And if I go back over to maybe color temperature, let's call it somewhere in the middle, around 5,000. This is probably its maximum light right now in terms of using both LEDs, the warmer and the cold light, or the cooler LEDs. And put that little reflector back on there, and this is providing a lot of light in this this room right now. Pretty nuts, man. This thing is very bright. So if you are thinking this thing is not going to be bright enough for you, let me tell you, it is. We're actually going to go to the next bit, which is using an app. So I can actually switch it on over to app mode. Now I can go ahead and open up the GVM app, and as it starts to load up here, it's gonna start to search for this light here. And right now we are on channel 1. I actually see the light pop up right here. It's called BT_LED. I can go ahead and click on that. The other two lights are these guys here. So I actually use a key light and a backlight, and both of those are on their own separate app. No, you know, they're in the app, but I just control them separately. Now we're actually connected to the light, and I can sit here and dial this back down to go to warm, 2,700 degrees. I can change the brightness with my my phone, and it's pretty freaking nice, man. Now, the reason I bring this up is because I work on set a lot. I work in a sound stage a lot, or I set a light up and I gotta walk away from it. I don't want to sit there and you know, tell my gaffer or myself to walk up and I gotta dial in the number, the setting, or whatever it is. I want to change. I have to walk to the light. I gotta go up into a grid. No, man, I want to do it easy. Now, I always like a failsafe. I love stuff having a dedicated knob or something on the actual fixtures themselves, but it's so nice to have something that's wireless that I can sit here and from a monitor or from behind camera, I go ahead and start to dial that in and really find out what I want my light to do and what I want it to look like without having to walk over, look at the light, touch the light, walk back to my monitor, my client monitor, my director's monitor, my whatever monitor, my camera, and now see what it's actually doing. So now I can sit here, maybe I got a light meter, checking a little reading over here. Yeah, that's a little too bright there. Let's go ahead and kick that down to, well, maybe 1%. That's looking pretty good. Cool, all right, walk away. When you don't have to walk away, it's right there. I can walk away anytime I want. It's on the app, it's great. So now other GVM LED lights out there, they do have little modes and whatnot. This one doesn't. This one is literally just kind of standard. You got your color, temperature, and your brightness. That's all this guy's gonna do for you, but it does it really, really well. So to go ahead and put on your softbox, usually, you know, once you have this thing built up, you go ahead and just loosen up a side here. It's gonna give you a little hand access. Stick your hand in there and then stick that right on front of the light. Give it a little twist, and then boom, put the Velcro back on, and you are good to go. And now I have myself a little light here with Grid. So I went ahead and dialed down my f-stop there so you guys can actually see my face. This thing was just blowing my face up here. But yeah, so we're sitting at 1% right now at 3,200 degrees. And you know what? I feel like it's fairly nice, man. You got this nice soft source as well as that grid to kind of keep the light just on me. And you know, I could spin it so it's still hitting me, but not hitting my back wall. And you can see as I start to spin this thing around, it's soft light, but it's directional. So it's hitting just where this light is coming straight out at, maybe a little off to the side, but that's what a grid does. It stops the light from spreading out to you, and it's not flaring the camera right now because it's not hitting you yet. But now that it is, it might be flaring you. So there you go. Now you know what a grid does. On the inside of this thing, I actually, they provide extra little bits here. So if I go ahead and undo this grid, which I can, and I can undo this little first layer of diffusion, on the inside, I actually have a secondary layer of diffusion. So let me go ahead and kill this real quick. I actually have another layer of diffusion in here, and you can see that right there. So I have one layer of diffusion, the lamp's behind it. I have a second layer of diffusion that will double break the light and keep it that much softer. And then I can go ahead and seal up the grid and keep it all nice and back to normal, so it's back in grid mode when I turn this guy back on. So it's pretty nice, man. I love that it has that little extra, you know, diffusion on the inside to keep that light extra soft. And you know, if you just have the one layer of diffusion, basically what that means is you're gonna get a little bit of a hot spot in the center of your light, and it's gonna get a little bit softer or less intense as it goes out. But if you soften up the light before it hits the secondary diffusion, it's gonna evenly hit this whole thing here and give you a nice even source of light coming from it. So double breaking your light, that's the way to go. So a couple cons about this light. And I hate talking bad about any product. One biggest annoyance that I have about this light is the locking mechanism on it. So the way it normally works is you have little yokes here and you got little tighteners, and when you tighten it down, the light stays in place. But usually from friction, you're able to continue to really, like if you wanted to, I could pull down this light and adjust it. But this light, actually, the little yoke here has teeth on it. So these teeth are locking it into place to not allow it to move. I like to be able to walk up to my light and just adjust it whenever I see fit, but as soon as I tighten it to a spot that I like, now it's kind of stuck there and I can't use my force to force it down. I have to constantly loosen it up, loosen up this side because there are teeth on both sides, find the right spot, lock it in, and now I can walk away from the light knowing that it's aiming at the right spot. With other lights, they use friction, and when you can kind of lightly lock the light and still kind of move it so it stays in place. Now, I can kind of do that here, but the weight of the light itself kind of wants to fall a little bit. So I can tighten it a little bit, but now the teeth are kind of grinding on each other, and that's not good. So there is a solution that you can do. You can get yourself a little washer, maybe put it right in between these guys, and that'll allow you just to use friction to kind of keep that locked in place without having to suffer from the gears or the little teeth kind of crunching into each other. Now, my only other complaint about this light is actually flipping it. So sometimes maybe you need to undersling your light or anything like that, and to do so, you would normally just spin your entire light around, but your power cable is going to block you from doing that. So technically what I could do is I could loosen up my reflector, and then I can come over here and flip it that way, but that's kind of a pain. And if I got attachments or anything like that on here, it's gonna hit there, and that's not gonna help me out. So I would like the ability to be able to just flip this around, and I can't do so because of that cable. And the only way to really otherwise go around that is to power down your light, unplug the cable, loosen your light, flip it around, retighten it, and then re-plug in your cable yet again upside down, and then fire it back up. So now I'm back to undersling mode. So if I needed to hang this thing from like a grid or whatnot, I can, but I had to, you had to see what I had to do there. I had to unplug and replug and get it all situated. So again, if I wanted to switch back into on a stand mode, I go back over here to a stand, lock it down, I gotta power it down, I gotta unplug the light, then loosen it, then flip it around, I gotta make sure to loosen both sides, retighten it, retighten this side, and then spin this guy back over here, then plug them back in, and then fire it back up. It's all these little extra steps that are just gonna slow down your day. So if you're in a fast-paced working environment and you gotta flip this guy around for whatever reason, that's an extra 10, 20 seconds that I gotta spend on set dealing with that, as opposed to just simply loosening a light, flipping it, and being done. So with that said, everything else I love. I love this light. I love the softbox. I love that it comes with a grid. I love how easy it is to put together and set up. You know, the stand is not the best, but it gets the job done. And, you know, the case itself is actually pretty nice too. You get a lot of nice little just kind of storage here. And, you know, it's nice to make sure and know that your gear is protected. So, you know, if you need a place to put your gear and keep it nice and safe, this case is here for you. And GVM knows how to give you a nice little good case here. So thank you very much, GVM, for sending over this product. This gear review has been brought to you by myself, not GVM. They just sent me the gear to show off to you guys. So again, this is not sponsored. Thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate it. Lastly, one more time, $4.99 on Amazon, but it's $100 off from that. That's $300 off right now. So that's pretty freaking cool. And on top of that, an extra $100 off. So boom, just like that, you get this guy for $3.99. So if you need yourself an actual big key light source, a beautiful, beautiful key light, this might be for you. So I'll leave this light down in the comments below. So if you guys need to get yourself a little access to it, I'll make sure to drop that link down there. It's affiliated link, so it helps support the channel and support myself. So thank you guys very much for watching. Appreciate it. GVM, thank you so much for sending over your SD300 beautiful light, beautiful package. Very excited to use this on set. And everything it's been showing me so far has been phenomenal. So thank you guys very much. Nice, clean, simple light. Thank you. Catch you on the next one. All right, bye.